It felt like the world had conspired against the Utah Jazz. They headed to Detroit, who had lost 24 straight without Lauri Markkanen, without Taylor Horton-Tucker, without Jordan Clarkson, without Keontae George, and on the back end of a back-to-back. And the sports book said the Pistons were favored. But no, the Jazz clutched up with numerous great performances. Postcast is next. Ron Boone will be joining me, I think.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Ron Boone just head faked me in a masterful way because he left and he came back and I thought we were ready to go and he wasn't. So I will now lead off the show tonight and get you going. So the Jazz hold off to beat the Pistons in what feels like, it almost feels absurd, right? They've lost 25 straight, but it feels like a big win. And in a sense, I don't want to call it a big win, but you didn't want to be the team. You didn't want to be the team tonight. And the Jazz, after a very slow start, allowing 8 of 8 at the rim in the opening moments of the game, were able to slow down their rim attacks, force Detroit into what they're weak at, get them into the half court, slow down the game, improve defensively. They were able to take a 2-point lead at the end of one. They led by 6 at the half and led by 2 at the end as they headed to the fourth quarter and never relinquished the lead in the fourth quarter of this game as the Detroit Pistons lose their 25th straight. The Pistons have only led in 5 of the 25 in the fourth quarter. They've only allowed in their last 7. They've only allowed, or the last 12, they've only led for a minute 44 in the fourth quarter. And the Jazz were able to hold on tonight. Kris Dunn did a masterful job for a period of the game, kind of controlling the game, taking it over one-on-one, getting in the lane. He had 11 points and 10 assists. The story of the night, though, is the ever-changing version of basketball that we see out of Kelly Olynyk, as Kelly had 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists tonight, but the 27 points much needed without Lauri Markkanen, without Jordan Clarkson, without Keontae George, without Taylor Horton-Tucker. Somebody had to pick up that scoring range, and it was Kelly Olynyk tonight on 10 of 16 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3. And he conducted the offense out of the high post a great deal tonight and was absolutely awesome in that. Interesting emotions here. I will share with you, if you look at these comments here from everybody else on this, is that maybe the fans felt the same things the players did. I will tell you, in my opinion, it was a pensive environment around the Jazz since last night. When they lost to Cleveland, there was just a feeling of, oh, dear goodness, are we going to be the ones? And you did not want to be the team. And the Jazz were absolutely, I think, aware of it. The plane had an energy to it last night in a short flight that felt different than we felt before. This team is, Will Hardy's always saying, like, hey, during the game I have no perspective, but after games I have perspective on where we are and what we're doing, and we need to have conviction of where we're going. But it was clear to me that tonight the Utah Jazz group wanted this win badly. And I think as much for the coaching staff as anyone else, but the players didn't want to be the team either that lost to the Pistons after 24 losses. They've now lost 25. Only 2 teams in NBA history, the 2010 and 2011 Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers 2013-14 team lost 26 in a row as well. Good fourth quarter tonight by the Jazz. Detroit is now 1-11 in the clutch. Julie with and Phew, I think that sums it up a little bit on how people felt on this one. Lacey, the same thing. That's a big relief, and maybe that's the better way to say it than a big win. Certainly a big relief. It was interesting. Dwayne Casey and I just chatted for a minute, and he was like, I loved Kelly Olynyk. I just loved Kelly Olynyk when we had him. And that's, Kelly makes those kind of plays, and that's what he is capable of in numerous ways. He can do the assists like he did the other night. He's not a great defensive player, so you have to find a way to figure that out, but he just makes everyone around him better offensively, and he can do so many different things in this game. The real story to me, though, was how the defense changed after the early going. The early opening defense was as bad as I've seen out of the Utah Jazz in a long time, and that was they allowed the opening 10 shots, 8 of them were at the rim, and they were 8 of 8 at the rim. And they just didn't understand their pick and roll coverage. Just doing things. Walker came in the game, altered what happened. They then ended up shooting just 1 of 2 from the rim at the rim the rest of that game, the quarter. In the second quarter, they were just 6 of 13 at the rim. 13's a lot. 6 of 11. Check it. Those numbers are wrong. 5 of 11 at the rim. 11's a lot, but 5 is not. Then in the third quarter, they were just 3 of 4 at the rim. So you could see the Jazz making improvements as the night went on. In the final number of the night, they were 19 of 29, which means they were just 2 of 4 in the fourth quarter. So the Pistons, after getting 8 of their first 10 shots at the rim, only got 8 shots at the rim in the entire second half. To me, that's actually the biggest story of the night, where the Jazz forced the Pistons back into what the Pistons don't do well, which is playing half-court offense and getting and making baskets. We had Kristen Spear on our stats tonight, and she was charting easy baskets. That was one of the things we were looking at. And in the third, through the opening, looking back through Kristen's notes, that we gave no easy baskets to Detroit in the second quarter. And then in the third quarter, we gave them only 1 easy basket. And I don't think we gave up many at all in the fourth quarter. So exactly what we said, kind of easy, and easy we determined as transition, easy back cuts, offensive rebound follows, things of that sort, where they don't have, where they score outside of their half court, because they are incapable of scoring at any decent rate with their roster as it is in the half court. And that's why they're on a 25-game losing streak. So the Jazz were able to exploit that out of them tonight, and the Jazz were able to do that. Here's a perspective from a Pistons fan. Says, we're a joke of a franchise till further notice. The crowd was chanting, sell the team, and he's inclined to agree. At the very least, they should fire the front office. Monty Williams is not going to get fired as the head coach. He's on the biggest contract of any coach ever in NBA history, I think. Maybe Greg Popovich is bigger now, but when Monty signed it was the biggest contract ever by a head coach, and he is. So they have Monty Williams here for a while to see how he, and I guess they'll find out whether that was a good decision or not. But they are embedded with him for a while. Simone Fontecchio hit 4 threes, which were monstrous. Will Hardy had a really good game out of timeouts tonight as well. That's worth mentioning, is that Will had about 3 or 4 possessions straight out of timeouts tonight, where the Jazz were able to get buckets, get those little extra points, win on the fringes as well there. John Collins played kind of all over the place tonight, some backup center, some with a wing. Walker, he played 31. Walker played 20. Walker had 10 rebounds tonight, was plus 17 in his 17 minutes. I thought Walker really changed the game with his presence. John Collins had 8 rebounds, made some big plays late, and the Jazz ended up with 15 steals tonight, which might be, the biggest stories of the night, as the Pistons turned it over 20 times on what turned out to be about 25% of their possessions, which is a really, really high rate. I think Ron Boone's going to join us for the final 3 minutes of the show. Yeah, you're just in time. We got 3 minutes left.
Just in time to pick the players of the game.
What are your thoughts or impressions on this one before they get sick of hearing from me anymore?
The impression was, whew.
That's what everyone's saying.
Exactly.
Like, it's a big few win, not a big win. It's a big few win. Yeah. Like, so you would agree with me that the tension and the of not being the team was real.
Okay, it was. Yes, it was. It was real. But when you win and you're tight, were they tight when they're playing the game? I mean, Kelly Olynyk sure wasn't.
Right.
He was spot on in what he was doing. But sometimes in pressure games like this, and the whole world is watching, you tighten up. All of a sudden, shots come up short. Stupid fouls and mistakes. There was plenty of them, but not enough to lose to the Pistons.
Phew.
So I'm with them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The one thing the Jazz did really well tonight is the Pistons never really went on runs. They never lost control of the rope tonight in this game, and that's something that's been happening in a lot of road games. There were 3 or 4 multiple runs by the Cavaliers. What did they do, or did the Pistons do, that allowed the Jazz to not give up runs?
Their defense is terrible. I mean, well, I won't say terrible, but it's not good enough. It's got to be good enough to win basketball games, obviously.
What happens when your defense is terrible and your offense is terrible? You lose 25 straight?
Yes, you lose 25 straight. And the next 2 ball games against Brooklyn at home and away, They just that streak just might continue.
They probably get one of those, don't they? At some point,
You would hope.
they've got to win a game at some point. You would think.
Well,
The problem is, honestly, just about them for a second. They're 30th in the league in 3-point shot attempts. They only took 30 tonight. So they don't have that like one night where they could get hot because they don't actually take enough threes to get a hot. So they're always at a disadvantage in that regard. So like the reason other teams, like we take so many threes. I don't think we could, I hope I don't jinx us, but we could never go on a 20-game losing streak because at some point we'd hit 50% of our threes and just win a game. They don't take enough threes like to win a game. Like if they had been hot tonight from three, they would have had another 4 threes and we still would have won.
Yeah. But the big thing is, we talked about this before the ball game. You asked me what I was looking for. I wanted the Jazz to play a little bit faster, but we didn't want them to turn the ball over. And Pistons ended up turning it over 21 times. They gave up 27 points off those turnovers.
We got to do what other people have done to us.
Right, exactly.
What do you think of Kelly tonight?
Kelly was just awesome, totally awesome. He made, I'm sure, I don't know if you checked into this. This has got to be his season high shot attempts.
Yeah,
Probably season high field goals.
Yeah.
He made a couple of unbelievable practice shots.
Kelly Olynyk shots.
Tonight. Yes, Kelly, that. But he was just the player I thought that was very much under control. Will was just glad to have him out there on the floor.
Super interesting what he's able to do every night. Like he just changes his game depending on what you need out of him on a given night. He gets lost some nights, assists some nights, scores 27 other nights.
You know, you hear guys like Luka, Doncic, and Jokic, and guys like that you can't speed them up. Kelly, you can't speed up, and I don't think he can speed himself up. You know, he just has that pace and awkward like drives to the basket with the big steps, and he just flat out gets the job done. So obviously, you know who starter games are.
Right.
You know.
Well, who's your second star tonight?
Agbaji.
Okay, and let's talk about what he did. Hit some above the break threes, and we talked to him post game. He said like.
On the floor.
So the Jazz, we might have gone black there for a second, but we're back with you. So the Jazz win it tonight. Final score 1-8-19, 1-11. Our stars are Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji, and let's all do it together. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Have a good night. We now send you to the first ever 24/7 national sports stream on YouTube, Locked On Sports Today. Thanks so much. Locked On Jazz will return tomorrow. I did not have a voice this morning, so we did not do one, and I will be with you from tomorrow from Toronto. Have a good one.